Sports Network. I am your host, Brett Rutherford, and joining me, as always, is my good friend, Darby Robinson. Darby, we got some big news today. A new stadium deal has been reached. The Rays and Hillsborough College, or I think it's still Hillsborough Community College for the time being, have agreed to move forward with turning their Dale Mabry campus into a major development that will be anchored by a new Rays stadium. Instant reaction. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling very hopeful. I'm feeling very much that I immediately get the reactions from a lot of Rays fans of being pensive and not wanting to get their hopes up again. We've been here so many times. But I'm feeling hopeful. I have wind in my sails with this because we talked a little bit about, I think, when Zalupski's press conference, kind of when they took over, he mentioned specifically over 100 acres was what they're looking for. And I think before the pod, you had noted HCC Dale Mabry, it's 108. Interesting. Ybor, none of those sites in Ybor had even close to 100 acres. No. The fairgrounds.
No, Ybor Harbor, which had been like the previous hot name on the list, much smaller than that. Much smaller than that. So when he said that in the press conference, like that was immediate alarm bells that this is the direction they're headed in. And it makes a lot of sense.
It does.
To build it right next to Raymond James Stadium. I think to build up that partnership with the stakeholders that are in that part of Tampa, some very powerful organizations just in and around that area, the Buccaneers. I think one of the elephants in the room is your new next door neighbors and how that would be handled with the New York Yankees.
Your old stadium.
Yeah. I think that is going to be a very interesting, probably political battle. I shouldn't say battle.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be I think it'll be amicable. But it's another
much
hurdle.
Of a problem is that? How much of a problem is that? Do you think?
I think it's a big
lot
problem.
Has been made. I don't know if it is a big problem.
I don't think it's been a big problem. I don't think it's been a big problem in the past, like with the Rays playing in St. Pete and the Yankees being in Tampa. I know, like, someone who staunchly disagrees with me is our good friend Danny Russell. Like, he's been very against this for a long time. Like, Danny has stood on business about this issue for as long as I've known him.
Absolutely.
And I do think you're moving onto the same kind of plot of land as the New York Yankees, with their big ass board that lists off every World Series championship they've ever had, every division title, every Hall of Famer. I do think that is an issue. I'm not saying it's like a deal breaker, but I do think it is an issue.
I don't disagree. I don't necessarily disagree with Danny's points or what you're saying. But like when you have a brand new mega, arena that's just built up and all fancy LED and whatever they're going to do, we don't have any renders yet. So we don't know what it's going to look like, but whatever giant, it's going to quite a bit dwarf, Steinbrenner Field. I don't know how much a single A, like,
no,
I think the larger bit is that, like, moving Tampa from a Yankees centric town to a Rays thing is harder.
Think
but
one way you could make this a win-win. I think the Yankees would have to build elsewhere. You're not trading spring training complexes, but the Rays potentially taking over that complex at some point if the Yankees are to move. How unique would that be for the Rays to really expand on their facilities, right? Having the major league stadium there right next to your spring training facilities and being able to use those amenities and those tools for guys. I think that is an interesting part that could potentially happen in the future. I don't want to get too into the weeds about Steinbrenner Field and where that sits in the development.
I think the thing that makes me most excited about this news today, which was pretty pro forma, there was a vote technically to approve this. The announcement came out earlier in the morning, then the vote was later that day. So you kind of knew how pro forma it was.
Yeah.
That that it was sort of like this has been agreed to. I think the thing that gives me the most confidence about this whole situation, everything that's played out, is the pace of things. I think I was used to the Stu Steinbrenner era of like, here's the new plan.
The Stu Steinbrenner, that's a Freudian slip.
Oh, there you go. Oh, wow. Shoot. Yeah. See, it's already just being that close to the Yankees is infesting the Steinbrenner curse is just somehow the Sternberg era of just like the pace of, we are going to be searching for a new stadium in the Tampa area. Okay. Months and months and you're speculating. And then eventually you pick your spot and it's okay. That I think that could work. That could work. You had the Ybor site with the cool glass Ray Stadium, and it was pretty tight site, but it could work. And then it just kind of fell apart. It just fell apart. Yeah. Upon any kind of scrutiny. Everything so far has felt like there has been quite a bit of work done before it's public. Like HCC, Dale Mabry, really felt like that was a site that was the target before Zalupski announced in that press conference the general parameters of what they're looking for. Now, again, this has got me the whole like Dokes meme from Dexter, but I'm like, I can't prove it yet. But Rob Manfred coming to Florida, having dinner with Governor Ron DeSantis, then meeting with like Chris Ladvala and other, St. Pete folks. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Chris Ladvala has a quick change of heart, votes the opposite way.
Chris Ladvala, I don't know. I get the feeling that he's maybe not a hard sell.
Well, sure. He was ready. But like suddenly things just start falling into place very quickly. And everybody starts Chris Ladvala is suddenly very confident about the Rays going to Tampa and working out. And Mayor Jane Castor is also fairly confident, quietly so. And Ken Hagan.
Yeah, Jane Castor was like very like out in the open, like optimistic and taking a stance that like Tampa mayors hadn't like. Who was the guy?
Very much so.
Her Buckhorn.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He very much played it differently in the media when it was a topic of discussion. Castor recently, maybe not when she first came into office, but recently, up until this point, has been very optimistic openly about a Ray Stadium in Tampa.
It's been very interesting. And we found we were doing, people were doing their deep dives. And I don't know if it was Evan Klosky or somebody had noted that like on the logs, somebody from Zalupski's group before Zalupski had won the bid for the ownership, had met with Mayor Jane Castor, which could be about anything. Zalupski is a real estate developer in Florida. It could be about Dream Finders. It could be about something else.
Sure.
But it's
I'm sure they discussed all sorts of things, all things business.
It's just all of these things. I can't quite I can't put it together. I can't prove it yet, but I'm on to this. I think there is something behind the scenes that Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, the governor of Florida, there's deals, the mayor of Tampa, like there is deals, there is stuff.
Maybe there's more to find out through Sunshine Law in the state of Florida, the free state of Florida.
That is true. That is true.
I don't know. Maybe there are records that could be requested.
We will see. But
throughout this process, you get into the Florida college system, which they're now. You're getting into bed with the people in Tallahassee. You are in the thick of it politically.
Yes, and I think that's it. There is a big part of this. The other part of this is that again, Patrick Zalupski is a Florida real estate developer who donated to Ron DeSantis, who's on, he got a board seat on, one of those figurative board seats where you pay money and you get a thing. Like Stu Sternberg is not from Florida. He's from the Northeast. He made his money not in real estate. He's just, I don't know, the fit, seemingly he never really got in with the community. like close enough. And there's a lot of things that seem to be a lot more open doors right now with this group than there were with Stu. And maybe it's the timing, maybe it's the pace, maybe Zalupski's group is wisely thinking that if you don't hit hard fast when it comes to this, things stagnate, everything dies. So you have to go hardcore this first year and make sure you need to get something moving. You need to get a stadium location. You need to start being pushing. So like in the next month, we might be seeing stadium renders and ask for what the public financing will be and where is the money coming from. And these are all the big questions, right? Like you can't build a stadium until you know how much it's going to cost and who's going to pay for it. And these are important stuff, but it really feels like there is
for
a push.
With Stuart Sternberg, for reasons right or wrong, he always felt he always seemed like an outsider politically in Florida and with the real power players in and around the Tampa Bay area and in the state of Florida. These new owners, again, for reasons right or wrong, seem very much like they are insiders politically. They have the inside track to very important people that can help get a deal like this done. Like we mentioned, Ron DeSantis gets involved and fellow Republican Chris LaValla falls in line.
Interesting how that happens.
Yeah, that's just politics, and that happens on both sides. But it does feel like there is a difference with the way these owners play ball. There's a lot of details, like you said, that we don't know about yet, and we've been to this point before. We've gotten past this point before. We've been through this. This is nothing groundbreaking, pun intended, about this announcement today, but it is a step in the right direction.
There's some other things before I move on. Ken Babby did a really interesting. He did a podcast where he was talking about like the prospect. Ken Babby also is the person that released the statement today. He's the one that's. It is very clear that he is the driving face, and what a. Oh, go ahead.
I have no issues with Brian Alder and Matt Silverman on a personal issue. But again, it feels maybe early on that like Ken Babby is the straw that stirs the drink and is a great public face for this search for a new ballpark.
That's exactly what I was. He is somebody who just has this earnest charisma and a connection to the area. He was a ball boy at old Al Lang, and
seems like a baseball romantic.
He's run 2 minor league teams. Like he is a guy who's got a bit of that, like he loves baseball. He wants baseball to succeed. Not like I want and again, Stu, when he was in the booth talking about baseball, clearly was a huge fan. But I
don't know. Did you ever get that vibe from Brian Auld or Matt Silverman? Not that their dedication to the Rays. I knew they were obviously very dedicated to the Rays. But I don't know if Brian Auld or Matt Silverman saw the game the way I did.
And I don't know if they did, they didn't show it.
Right.
At least. It did not come clear. And it came clear that it was like, I mean, this is a business. These are business decisions with a lot of money. And I get that. I'm not Pollyanna about that. But Ken Babby is like, well, I'm going to do business for a number of different things, but I want to do it in baseball. Like it's not like, well, the market quarter for hockey is actually really good and booming, and so let's just move over to there. Or like, real estate here is big. It's more like this is kind of what I want to do. And I think there's some interesting stuff there. There is a good momentum where that is the person who is working and doing these meetings. Yeah. When you do have potentially Zalupski and some of the other, like he is the managing owner, he is the principal, but like he can maybe be working with, like he can maybe be shaking hands and doing the $1,000 plate dinners with the governor. Yeah. And Ken Babby can actually be meeting with local stakeholders and like actually getting the citizens, the voters, and the local community like on board. And that is going to be, it needs buy-in. And that's where I think the Rays are off to a much, much, much better start than they have been for years and years.
And I'm trying to be skeptical at the same time and critical. at the same time. And again, what this group has accomplished to this point is no different than what the last group had accomplished multiple times, right? With making an announcement about where we want to build a stadium. There's a lot of hurdles that need to get cleared, but like you said, it seems like we're headed in the right direction. I thought the statement was fine. I also like that they are not promoting this too heavily at this point.
Yes.
I think there's trust that needs to be built back up with the fan base based on what's happened the last 2 years. And so I'm glad that they are taking a very mild approach to this now. And then when you get closer to it being officially official, you really start to blow it up. Because I think you've got to find, for Rays fans that have been, like myself, that's been hoping for like some groundbreaking, great baseball news about this team moving forward over the last few months, and it's been not that type of offseason. This is the good news you needed to hear as a Rays fan. That, hey, we're trying to get back to being a competitive team. We don't want to mess it up. We don't want to do it overnight. We want to build this team for now and the future, but we're also really dedicated to building a stadium. This is the news you wanted to hear. And this is what I've been saying all offseason, that this offseason is not about getting back to winning the AL East. It's about building 2 ballparks, Tropicana Field, getting it back to a place where fans can enjoy going to games again this season, and then building a new one in Tampa. And they're doing that. So in my book, this is a successful offseason so far.
As Tampa Bay Rays history just chatted, hashtag here to stay.
Which is like such a great like moniker, right? For that.
It is. I know you can't use it now. It's been ruined, but like, God,
and
it
so
was really good.
And it was so great because they were staying at the same, like literally the same plot of land. Like, we're here. Like, this is where we are. This is where we'll stay. And then, yeah, we all know what happened after that.
I think the pace and that's what you said is really good. The pace, both the swiftness so far, but also the not getting out in front of your skis. Like, everything seems like it's been done in a very professional way, saying like, we know this is the site, but we want to make sure we hit like these marks first, so that when we publicly announce it, it is with the support of HCC. It is in partnership. And that not jumping to, we found our forever home. Here we go. Here to stay. Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. No, that time will come, but like, I do think make that be after you have a very clear ask for how much money the taxpayers are going to have to foot for this. And if that's a low amount, or, I mean, listen, if it's none, great. It's not going to be none. But if it's none, great. The lower the better, though. The lower the number, the better. Like, that to me will be the next big hurdle, right? Like,
yeah,
what is that number, and is it a reasonable ask that you can like ask without a red face?
Here's what's going to happen. The way this will be packaged politically is that this new ownership group, they will build the stadium. Don't worry about the stadium. We're building all of that. Where the public kick-in is going to happen is in the infrastructure around that, to build this into this giant complex, into some of the other places like Hillsborough College, that's publicly subsidized, building new classrooms. That is where they're going to get the money. And I think that's smart politically, right? I think that's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means that the taxpayer is actually going to foot less of the bill when it's all said and done.
It's leased to the Rays, but not owned by the Rays.
Yeah.
That would be, I mean, that alone is kind of nice. Like, that
so
is
this,
the thing.
This happens all the time in the state of Florida. I'll give you an example on a much smaller scale, well, a different scale. It's not necessarily smaller. Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, where Florida State football plays. It is the largest continuous brick structure in North America. That's what they say when you take the college tour. The Florida State football, before Doak Campbell Stadium looked the way it did now, it was people called it an erector set. It was just like all these metal rafters holding the bleachers together like that. It was like a really big erector set. And so Florida State, they wanted to put bricks around it. You had to pay for the bricks, and you can't use state funds at a university to build athletic facilities. So what did Florida State do? They added classrooms and offices all around the stadium, and then you can use those state funds to improve, classrooms and office space and whatever else. So there's ways to package in public, taxpayer dollars without saying, yeah, you guys are going to help us build this ballpark. So I don't know. I think that's part of it. And again, smart politically, and maybe like some way that building stadiums can be a little bit less harsh on like the local taxpayer, and just a much better investment than they are now. I don't know. That's an optimistic view of things.
I like that optimistic point. We need optimism. There's been through enough. I think that's a good point to like, we don't need to start at negative.
Yeah, right.
We don't need to start at cynical.
Yeah.
Like, they can be time for that, but
I think we'll probably get to the point where we'll do a stadium mega episode again at some point, maybe before the season, maybe get some of our friends at D-Rays Bay who, like, literally no one covers the stadium saga better than D-Rays Bay, and it's been that way for over a decade.
We have a lot of experience.
Yeah, like you can read through, I think, every article ever written on the stadium saga. I think there's a collection of those articles on the site, and you can go back.
A book
after
when it's all done.
I've been saying that. I've been saying that for years. Much better writers than myself have been putting a lot of great work into that over the last 10 years. So any other thoughts on this? Again, like we haven't seen renderings yet. We did see a rendering of the renovated Hillsborough College. I wonder if I could pull that up real quick. I'll work on that.
We've only seen two slides. One is a rendering of the Hillsborough College, and one is like an overlay with colors of like where the three, like the development, the stadium, and the other one will go.
So here we go.
I mean, that looks pretty.
Yeah, the renovated Hillsborough College campus, beautiful glass buildings, some great coverage of this in the Tampa Bay Times. But yeah, that it's huge news. If we had a picture of that on the site and I clicked on a different article, Danny's gonna get mad at me. Anyways, no, that picture was not on our site. So, yeah, this is, I don't know, exciting day. We need to hear more.
It's the step in the right direction, right? Yeah. It's not the journey has to take steps, and it's going in the right direction. We're not going backwards. But I think there's a thing when it comes to this is my last thing on this. There's like a saying of like, don't suffer twice. And so when it comes to things like this and anything in life, this applies to everything. And it's a mantra that I try to like keep with me. But like, you can be negative about something. You can think the worst is going to happen and suffer the whole time. And then eventually it happens. And great. Now you've suffered twice. If you are saying like, hey, I think this is going to work out, or like, we'll see, neutral, then, and it fails, guess what? You suffered once. You're always going to have that. That was always going to be there. There's no amount of hedging that you can do that won't soften that, but you can create more stress. Because then if you are worried and you're saying this is going to fail, everything in Tampa fails, every stadium will fail, it'll eventually fail, and then it is opened on April 2029 and the Rays are playing there, then you've suffered for no reason and you didn't need to suffer at all.
Yeah. I think this is actually a great segue. Because I think what you just described is the difference of how I feel about the upcoming season, about how you feel about the upcoming season. I'm in the suffering twice boat, I think.
I think so.
I've just been very, I don't want to say down.
Tampa Bay Rays 2026 suffer twice.
It's going to feel that way no matter what. So
it's going to slogan. You're going to get that one suffer. Just save it to one.
All right, we could talk about that. We could talk about that and our feelings about the current roster. But I do want to focus in on the 3-team deal that happened last week that shook the baseball world as news of the Kyle Tucker signing broke simultaneously.
This is what everybody was upset about online, right? Everybody was saying, I was seeing people like the lockout is going to go on forever, and I just assumed it was about
this trade.
Gavin Lux and Josh Lowe.
And Brock Burke.
Oh yeah, that's true. Brock
Was
Burke,
Brock Burke
also
a
former
Ray?
Ray,
Yeah.
former Ray. Yeah.
Wow. So let's break this trade down, and I'm going to try to do it by memory, which is a difficult thing to do with a 3-team trade. But in this trade, the Rays send Josh Lowe to the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels send left-handed reliever Brock Burke to the Cincinnati Reds. And the Rays acquire from Cincinnati second baseman Gavin Lux and right-handed pitcher Chris Clark, right-handed pitching prospect Chris Clark. Let's get, I think actually, where do you want to start with this?
I think the core, we can just get out of the way. Chris Clark isn't kind of an interesting pitcher, but he's a minor leaguer. He made it. Actually, the Angels move people fast, so he was moving pretty fast. But he is an interesting piece, not a super big time piece, but like a throw in plus, like a bet better than a throw in.
I would put him more in the throw in bin. I would think this is a guy who he's a little bit older. He was a 5th round pick, so it's not like a super high pedigree.
Harvard, right? He was a Harvard guy.
Yeah, which I think is notable.
They're just getting a future coach. That's it. They're just like who cares about the playing war? This is all coaching war.
Like the Rays have a lot of guys that are moving upwards, like pitching this year, and the AAA rotation will look different. They're going to need to like fill in gaps in high A and double A. Like you just need guys, and I think there's something they like about him. I just can't say like this is a guy like this is not one of those trades where it's like oh the guy the Rays were really targeting was Chris Clark.
No.
That's not what this trade is about. What this trade was about though was getting rid of Josh Lowe. I think that was the biggest.
I think that's the thing.
We'll talk about the other big player there. No, big in quotes player they acquired. But let's talk about the decision to move on from Josh Lowe, which you told me at the beginning of the season or beginning of the offseason, I would say, yeah, I could totally see that. They might DFA him. The fact that they held him until the end of January or the middle of January and then pulled this trade off, I think that's what was more shocking to me.
So when the Rays acquired Jake Fraley the first time, I think we talked about it in this pod. I'm like, that's interesting because he just feels like the safer Josh Lowe. He's like the higher floor, lower ceiling Josh Lowe, right? Like he doesn't have the potential to like Josh Lowe always had that one season where you flirted with like, oh, that's a potential perennial fringe all-star corner outfielder. The last 2 years kind of really shook that. But Jake Fraley always that. Then Jake Fraley gets DFA'd and you're like, okay, I guess they're going with Josh Lowe. That's totally fine. Then you sign Jake Fraley to actual guaranteed money. It's only $3 million, but still guaranteed money. And now I go back to being like, interesting. It always felt a little odd, that pairing between the both of them. And I do think that like with Josh Lowe, I think
you're saying I should have got the hint after the third left-handed hitting outfielder they acquired this.
I do think that probably was like a sign that somebody is leaving, and it's probably not
the guys.
Yeah. This is a move. Okay. The simple, and I have heard a few people say this with Josh Lowe. It's like, wow, Josh Lowe, former 1st-round pick, and like 3 years left of control. Ben Clemens had a good article today on Fangraphs about this article or this deal. And he had a good point about that specifically about like, yeah, it's not really it's not like, 3 years left of Josh Lowe. It's more like a year and a half because at a certain point, you're just going to want to not pay him and kind of dump him because
he's a super.
He could bounce back. He is a super 2. He's going to get pretty expensive. And like, yeah, I get it. Like the Rays, they get rid of guys as they start to make money. But like the biggest thing is you do not want to pay more of a premium for a player who is now like decreasing in value, whose trade value is starting to become non-existent, right?
Yeah,
like, this trade really kind of shows it. 3 years of Josh Lowe should get a lot more than this back.
Yeah.
But I think there is
it's been back-to-back years. It's been back-to-back years of really disappointing seasons for multiple reasons. Like some of which are probably out of his control. Health is such a tricky subject. Like what makes a player healthy is, can you really be injury prone? But like Josh Lowe being like a lanky, athletic outfielder, like those guys start to get banged up, like your body.
Especially obliques.
Yeah.
Like that is like it's muscle injuries. Yeah.
So Who like I couldn't believe that Josh Lowe is ever going to have another like 145 or 150 game season.
I think looking at Josh Lowe and it's really tough, right? You look at that 2023 season, really impressive, like really, really impressive stuff. And you look at that, he's a former first round pick. Like, you're like, okay, yeah, no,
Josh Lowe
I
always
can
looked the
believe
part.
that. He's out of straight, if you're selling jeans,
Yeah,
he'll
like
sell a lot of jeans.
like who makes up the Angels outfield? Like it's like the all looks team. It's like Joe Adele, Mike Trout, like just these handsome first round picks.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
total
Oh,
like
no, like
Josh
this
Lowe and
is,
Joe Adele could make up like a wide receivers room.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think the thing is when you look at Lowe, 2 years ago, 24, you can kind of look at that and be like, it's a disappointing year, stop and start, injuries, sub 100. There's some dangerous trends in both chase rate, whiff rate, speed, and defense and range. Like those are all like, okay, these are all like kind of skill based. Like these are the underlying, right? It's not like results of batted balls. It's like, the bat speed isn't getting that great. He's making worse swing decisions and the athleticism is all dropping. This past year, it got way worse. Everything is trending. Like that's 2 years in a row of really significantly trending down with chase, speed, deep. Like his glove was always not great, but it got really bad. The bat was looking really rough. And this was a year at Steinbrenner Field that we've talked about that's like really, really good for a left-handed bat. Like he should have probably had like a little boost year that you could maybe sell high on. And he had his worst offensive year in the majors. And that I think there's more troubling trends than just that he is injury prone and that he's had 2 down years. It's kind of like the Christopher Morel stuff, right? Like 1 year you can be like, well, let's try and see if there's a bounce back. But I do think the swing decisions, there's some things where you're just like, okay, I don't know if you can pull this out. Like, and I think going into this year, we sort of talked about it. Like, this is a year where Josh Lowe would be coming in without a runway. Whereas if he struggled in the first month, you cut him. Like, simple as that.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's I think the more likely outcome. I think for the Angels, it's a fine attempt. They got rid of a pretty good reliever in Brock Burke, but they don't have any lefty power bats. Like they only have Nolan Schmanuel, who is a on base guy. He's like, so like another first rounder who was drafted 2 years ago. Like
and Christian Moore is like the first rounder that's like already up on their team.
Yeah, so like they have like a lot of they have a lot of like they need lefty power. So Josh Lowe can definitely fit the part. The Rays then kind of add payroll with this trade though to bring in the strong side of a platoon at second base to the heir apparent. Let's just say they are replacing Brandon Lau with Gavin Lux. Let's just say that straight up.
I think that's the truth.
It's more complicated than that, but
I think that is the truth. Like that is
opening day. It will be Gavin Lux and not Brandon Lau, so you can do that. But
if you look at their what's left, Gavin Lux is still under team control. This is his final year. It's arbitration, and he is eligible to become a free agent, and he's making $5.5 million. If you double that, that's what Brandon Lau is making. There's like 11 or 12 million or whatever it is. In the final year of his contract extension, do you want to save half the money and play with Gavin Lux over Brandon Lau? And then also get Chris Clark, Jacob Melton, Anderson Brito, and have a guy like Melton who could have a big league impact this year. And I think he'll play. This question of how much.
This is the other part of it, and we'll dive into that real quick. I want to get back to your point, but like this is like Josh Lowe leaving that does potentially open the door for Jacob Melton.
Yeah, I think the outfield. I have a much different view of the outfield now that Josh Lowe is gone. We were trying to figure out a way that it could work with Josh Lowe, Jake Fraley, Cedric Mullins, Johnny DeLuca, and Richie Palacios or Ryan Valade being your outfielders. And yeah, it just doesn't really work that way. You have too many left-handed hitters. Josh Lowe is, you're going to play him against righties probably, and you probably also need to play Cedric Mullins a good bit. You just gave him $7.5 million. How is this going to
And you
work?
have to play Fraley against righties because what else are you going to play?
What else is Jake Fraley doing in your lineup if not hitting against? And he can't
I
DH
mean,
him because you've got Yandy and Aranda.
yeah. So it always I think this is a move. So you basically are taking Josh Lowe out of the equation, which clears up space in the outfield. And then, yeah, you are bringing in, like, again, it's Gavin Lux is not a one-to-one replacement for Brandon Lowe. And he's definitely not a replacement for the power. But
Right, which is like, I think you have to look at the losing Gavin Lau and gaining Gavin Lux. Like, it's not just about wins above replacement, and like
right.
there are other parts of a team that you need to have to be successful. And then like a guy like Brandon Lau, who might not be the same hitter he was 3 seasons ago, but can hit a home run at any time. Like, oh, those guys are important to have.
Well, but then you're also looking at a potential. This is another trade that I will say. So, like, straight up Josh Lowe versus Gavin Lux. Josh Lowe projections have him kind of ranging like Steamer has him at 96 WRC plus, a 309 WOBA, and worth about zero point 0.7 FWAR. The Bat has him as an 89 WRC plus, under 300 WOBA, zero point 0.7 FWAR. Oopsie, which is one of my favorite like projection like names, just to say, is 98 WRC plus, 312 WOBA, and a 1.1 FWAR. That's the high water mark. Gavin Lux on Steamer, 99 WRC plus, 312 WOBA, 1.3 FWAR. So that's a plus 6 point improvement there on that projection. The Bat, 97 WRC plus, 310 WOBA, 1.6. That's a almost that's a 0.9 bump. And then Oopsie is 99 WRC plus, 313 WOBA, and a 1.5. So a boost of about 0.5. So all of those show Gavin Lux is a more valuable player than projected than Josh Lowe in terms of that. The other biggest thing here is that it does clean up the outfield a little bit, but it also gives you a much like his defense. Gavin Lux's defense in the outfield is really awful, but he came up as a shortstop. He's not a shortstop anymore, but he's had some good tape as a second baseman, and it gives him back to being a consistent position. One thing that I'm kind of curious about is, does that give him a boost at the plate, knowing that like you are back to your normal position? You are not trying to learn the outfield and chase fly balls in the Great American Small Park anymore. You are back to doing what you know what to do at second base. The other thing to look at is how much does that help the Rays by having a boost in defense in the infield from, again, we always thought Brandon Lowe was going to bounce back from like one of the worst defensive seasons like on every metric. But if Gavin Lux is a league average defensive second baseman, which in the past he's been a little bit above and a little bit below.
And he maybe gets platooned with Taylor Walls.
Possibly. Like, or Ryan Vlade.
Or like however they do that. So like defensively, yeah, if it's Vlade or Vlade or however you say it.
We'll have to find out. If he still makes the team in spring, we'll find out then.
Yeah, I think you feel fine defensively. Like if it's Walls at short, then it's probably Vlade or Vlade platooning with Lux, and then if Williams is your shortstop, then it's like Walls giving Williams some day off, and then also probably filling in at second base, which gives you great defense. So
which just keeps that defense higher. You're right. It's Vlade. It's Vlade, according to Baseball Reference. Vlade. Okay, there we go. I don't want to mispronounce people's names. That's super disrespectful. I was just making a joke there. But now Ryan will pummel when you hit 25 home runs. I don't want you to have to. You can come back and show me saying that, and I will be glad for your end of season Aura farming reel. The thing I've noticed that this trade does again. And it's become enough of a trend that it does need to be noted. And we've mentioned it before, but this is yet another trade that adds players that have more contact, less chase, less whiff, higher defensive floor, and subtracts players that have more whiff, more Ks, less contact, lower defensive floor.
More
We've
power.
seen this, and the power is definitely lower, but it's basically going for more contact, less whiff, right? So like chasing the high floor versus the higher ceiling. Josh Lowe and Christopher Morel have way more power than Mullins, than Fraley, than than Gavin Lux, right? Gavin Lux has never hit for power. If you get 10 home runs from Gavin Lux, you're having a great year. But what those guys have is a lot more unproductive at bats. And making weak contact is not productive. That's not better than a strikeout. But never being able to, but chasing bad pitches, which leads to weak contact or strikeouts, is really unproductive. And as a team, the highs of you could pop a home run at any moment, it's maybe not outweighed by the fact that your floor is so much lower. And now Brandon Lau is much better than all of those guys, but he also is a guy who is chasing and striking out at a lot
And
higher rate.
oft injured.
And oft injured and had
older.
his worst defensive year. Like there's a clear trend that the Rays are doing this offseason. Will that work out? We don't know. I don't know. But like it is clearly they are trying to shave away from that like hot like listen, Christopher Morel dice roll makes a lot of sense, right? He's 25 with prestigious power, tons of athleticism. But those at bats were some of the most like hard to watch at bats, like anywhere. And like Cam Misner is like a similar guy, like right, great defense. The defense was there. Swing decisions, the whiffs, the chase, horrendous. So it's curious to see that trend continue. There has not been a player added that has broken that trend. There's not been that like this guy can hit 40 bombs, but is gonna bat 150 and strike out like 250 times. Like it's there's none of that yet. It's been a lot more high floor, low ceiling, safer, contact mavens.
Yeah. Okay, so like, what if I told you like the Rays had signed Gavin Lux to a 1-year deal, $5.5 million to play second base this year? Would you have been? Hey, that's a fair deal.
Yeah, I'd be fine. I think that would be like a very reasonable. I'd be like, oh, that's it. It's a little bit more than I thought for Lux, but it kind of makes sense. He's 28, former first rounder.
Yeah, like still
how did they beat the Angels to it? That'd be my question.
Range where he could have the best offensive season of his career. Like the bat speed's never been great for him the last few years, so I don't know. I don't see like a major breakout, but maybe he walks a little bit more, has good BABIP luck, and puts together like a 275, 380 on base season, and adds like a dozen home runs. And like maybe steals a little bit more than he normally would. Like, okay, that season could maybe be in the cards for Gavin Lux. That's me wishing, maybe isn't as good as projecting what he'll do.
But I mean, like the projections have kind of like him. Like he's hit for his career about 10% higher than average against right-handed pitching.
So roster resource has him as the leadoff hitter. What do you think about that?
I don't really see that.
I think the leadoff hitter is going to be Yandy.
But here's the thing with Lux that I do think roster resource really does well is that like Gavin Lux is a very high on base guy. Like that is his thing. He does get on base at a high clip, so that is what the Rays would like. And he's never
had like a great on base season. Like actually last year was his best year on base with the 350, which is good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's not Yandy, but you can extend your lineup. But no, if Chandler Simpson is playing, he's
very little power. I mean, 5 home runs last year.
And that's in Cincy.
Like he's getting on base, but he's not like a super plus base runner.
That's where I think if Chandler Simpson is your leadoff guy, here's the thing though. I would be glad to have that as a game. Like I don't want Cash to have set lineups again. I want him to get crazy with it.
Sure, and I think
so. Let's give Lux a few. Give Lux a few lead off, and let's see how he feels.
The Rays roster, I think, is very much headed in the direction to where we will see old school Kevin Cash changing up the lineup every day, doing weird stuff with the starting pitchers. Oh, that guy is playing what position today? Like, that's the type of season we're going to have.
Does Gavin Lux? Here's my question: does Gavin Lux play plus 1.5 innings in the outfield?
Oh, innings? Yeah. 100%.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, no, he'll play. I mean, if everyone stays healthy, like, I still think he would play like a couple times as a defensive change or pinch hitting, and then he'll start like once every 2 or 3 weeks out there. I don't know. That's kind of the way I read it.
It doesn't make a lot of sense because he's so bad out there. Like, what scenario? But I'm taking the over anyway because I'm like, well,
I don't know.
He can play outfield.
I think he will. So, I don't know. I mean, one, like, guys will get hurt and you have to move guys around. Two, the other thing you ask yourself, like, okay, is Richie Palacios redundant on a team that you have Gavin Lux? Palacios does have options.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit older to be the guy you're still like yo-yoing up and down.
Right.
It feels like he's earned more of a chance than that, but he also needs to stay healthy. So
last year was a brutal one for him because like that was the year to like carve out a role.
Yeah,
and that's the time if he stays healthy last year and like gives a whole season of tape, you're not trading for Gavin Lux,
especially what he did when he was healthy.
Right. I mean, it was very good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe there's a world where Palacios displaces Lux at some point.
Perfect.
You could do that. Lux is on an expiring deal. Like, it's a sunk cost. Unless you're trading him again, you're paying him the $5.5 million. You've tendered him the deal. So
it's similar to Fraley, where like the money is like it's significant enough for the Rays that like I don't think they're going to be cut out of spring, but I don't think that's like a thing where midway through May, that guy could go like that. That's not a thing. Like we've seen it with like Rich Hill. We've seen it with like other players. I mean, mid-season, is it Yadier Arianamo like potentially taking over at second base? Like, there's a lot of options there. Like, but right now, I think you have or he's platooning with Lux. Like, there's that possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for now, you add another like solid floor guy onto the roster, and I dare to look
Brett Wisely's saying, "What the hell?"
I know it's a rough go for Brett Wisely. He was just there, being like, "Hey, I got a glove."
I might be like the second in line to play second base for the Rays this season.
No,
and he just got bumped down a bunch.
Right down. Yeah, get ready to learn Durham, buddy.
I hope he could probably
hit the bull.
He probably can explore his opportunities elsewhere. I think the Rays would do him that courtesy. Let's play the roster game a little bit. So, like,
this is always fun because right now, every time we do this show, there's a new piece of the puzzle, but also a new puzzle piece that's missing, and we're like, okay, wait, no, maybe not that, but yes, maybe not.
So, Rays on roster resource right now. One of the one of the ways you could build a roster on the position player side is because your bench, you get 4 bench players, and you're pretty locked into that. You could take one more, you just have one less pitcher on your side. You can't do that on the pitching side.
Which the Rays will never do.
Yeah, no, you need as many pitchers. You need
no team will do that.
Yeah. So you have 4 bench spots. So assuming like those bench players are going to platoon and play some role in your team, that means they can platoon for 4 of your 9 starters, which means if you want to have like a decent team, you need like 5 players that can play every day for your team. And then the other 4 players can just platoon and play situationally. I'm not saying that's how the Rays have historically built their rosters. I think they see like all but 2 or 3 players on any given team as platoon worthy. So let's go through this. Gavin Lux, is he an everyday guy for you, or is he a platoon guy?
Platoon.
Yeah, and but he's on the strong side, so I think you're okay with that.
Yeah, he's a 75% of the games he's playing. But he's always been very bad against lefties. So
Yandy Diaz, very much not a platoon.
Every day.
Jonathan Aranda, I think
every day.
I think he is an everyday player as well. Partly because him and Yandy are the first base DH.
Mhm.
You might get a day where you're facing a lefty and Aranda needs a day off, so you let Valade be the DH or play first, or let Malloy DH, or do some shifting around. But yeah, Aranda is, I think, for all intents and purposes, an everyday player. Caminero every day.
Every day.
So there's three.
Yeah.
We're 60% there. Mullins,
I think he ends up playing maybe not every day. He will probably sit a few lefties, but I think most of the time.
yeah.
So I'll say in this exercise, I'll say everyday player.
Okay. So that's four.
His platoons are not terrible against lefties. It's definitely worse. Last year was better, but that's
Yeah,
noise. That's just noise. Because it's
I
always
think you don't want
smaller
to
against
risk your
lefties.
defense, your outfield defense, too much against left-handed pitchers.
He's also a vet. He's seen a ton of pitches in his career. I mean, he's
I
only
think
30
he, I
also.
think he's
Like
had
that's
some reverse split seasons, which
he
is less
has.
addictive. But
He's had two reverse split seasons when I was looking into it, which is like, okay, that's two. It's still noise because it's against lefties and
yeah,
he's playing less against them. But it's enough that I don't see him as like a Josh Lowe or a Gavin Lux, where it's like he's like a 50 WRC
yeah.
plus against lefties.
Um,
So yeah, every day.
Jake Fraley, very much a platoon.
Platoon.
Strong side, but probably won't play every game, even against righties. Like, I don't know.
As of right now with this roster,
It depends about Jacob Melton. I think he's kind of the linchpin here.
well, that's a big
And
part.
he is not on this roster right now.
He is not on this roster yet.
So that's interesting. Taylor Walls is listed as the shortstop. I'm starting to disagree with this. I think it's going to be Carson. Let's
I
play the
think
game if it's Walls. Like if this is the roster, if you take
then
this
he has to.
roster for
There is
another
no other shortstop on this roster.
Okay, so that yeah.
So this roster is also broken because
I
there's
would
no other
say
shortstop.
it would be
Lux, I guess, is technically.
Carson or Malloy,
Right now, yes. Yes.
or Palacios.
If Palacios can play shortstop
Yeah, I
every
think you would rather it
fifth
be
day.
Carson the way the roster is. So let's. So if it's Walls and Carson's on the roster,
Carson every day.
well, maybe.
Pl- okay, but it's a platoon with. You're not doing I don't think you're doing a short side of the platoon with Carson.
Okay, we can say yep.
So
We
So
can
I
say
think
Carson's
what you
every day.
might do is have Carson, and then oh man, but then you have the
You
lefty.
might play one of them at second against lefties anyway. You might play both of them
You might play both of them. Yeah,
against lefties. So it
yeah.
would be like
So Walls is an everyday player.
I think no. I think
Damn
Walls,
it, we're back to this again.
I think Walls gives Carson like consistent
It's
off days. I think they don't
60.
have Carson playing 7 games in a week. Like I think he'll.
Is
have,
it like a 60-40? 60-40? Like
no, I think it'll be
not
more
a
than
not a
that.
split.
I think we can
65-35.
consider Carson an everyday player. I just don't see. I don't know if we'll ever see Carson play like 20 straight games at shortstop this season.
No. If
Yeah,
you still
like-
have Walls, I think you're mixing them up.
I think
a
you
bit,
need
but
to keep Walls fresh at short, like once a week at least.
I think if you have Walls, or sorry, if you have Carson up, I think he has to play. I think he is an everyday player. By
I
our
agree.
Same definition as Cedric Mullins.
So that's 5. I mean, that's 5, and let's get through the rest. Chandler Simpson. Do you believe he'll be the left fielder to open the season?
I don't. But I'm also.
You think that probably belongs to Fraley? Would you put Fraley in left or Fraley stays in right?
Okay, if Chandler's here, then Chandler gets left.
Yeah,
Because that's a weaker position, and Fraley's a better defender. Not by a ton.
I think you mix another right-hander into this by doing. You could do from left to right Fraley to Luca Mullins.
Yeah, I think DeLuca plays every day against lefties.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not an everyday player, but he is the platoon lefty.
And on
he's the
this
platoon
roster,
right-handed hitter.
There might be another. I think the only other guy that's better than DeLuca in center in the organization is Melton.
Correct.
And if he is on the team, Melton is probably your strong-sided. He's your strong-sided platoon against for center field, and DeLuca plays the short side of that.
I agree. I think you could see that as your center field. Now I
I think that's a true platoon.
and that's a true platoon, and I think like a really good one. I think you have if Melton's making the team out of camp, he had a good spring. I think the only question there is whether Mullins is comfortable enough to take a left field or right field.
Yeah.
And that's like a question you have with him as like a veteran. You just respect him in that regard. But
and then with the catchers, I don't know. The catchers, I don't think they need to be like they're not. They're platoons.
It's a split.
It's
a right now it's a righty lefty, so it's a clean platoon. But it's all catchers now are pretty much a mix.
Yeah.
So in that situation, Ryan Valade would be like probably primary platoon with Gavin Lux, I would imagine.
So let's dreamcast that Carson does break the team and is the starting shortstop, but that Melton does not. Let's say Melton, and then maybe Simpson also start in AAA. Maybe you get one of them. I think Malloy, I'm interested to see what they do with Malloy, and then they got to figure out Palacios. Like they got to either move on from him. Yeah. These are fringe guys, but I think the everyday players we did name are Diaz, Aranda, Caminero, Mullins, and then Williams would be your fifth. And if it's not Williams, it's Walls. I think very heavy at the top with your top three hitters. You should have great seasons from all three of them. That doesn't mean that always happens. There's a number of factors in that. Yandy gets older. Caminero has a sophomore slump. I know he wasn't a rookie last year, but goes back to the trop.
That was his sophomore slump.
Yeah.
Last year was a sophomore slump. Next year he wins the home run derby.
Like, I don't know. Junior is going to have a very busy spring, assuming he is playing at for the Dominican. Classic. Like, he has to. I don't know how they fit that in lineup-wise. He's on your team.
Yeah, it's great problems to have.
When you have like a future Hall of Famer at third base, it's like, okay, where do you want to play, Junior? How do we get you in the lineup? I think you just DH him. Yeah. And he wants I think a World Baseball Classic championship more than a World Series at this current point in his career.
I think a lot of those Dominican players, like, I don't think it's as much of a draw. Like, I think like representing. Yeah. I mean, you saw it with the in like Team Japan. Like that was they put it all out on there. They really I think that was the best part of the last World Baseball Classic was like these teams actually gave a damn about winning, and that was awesome. We got to see true competition.
I think that is it's going to be something to watch. I think the Team USA is loading up. Right, you lose to Japan last year, like, all right, we're all playing this year. Like, this is like looking like dream team for Team USA.
Yeah. Like, this is great. Like, and it's not. And I don't want to say like just like the Dominicans are like wanting it. Like, this like Japan's gonna bring it. Dominican Republic, I feel like they felt like they left a lot on the table last year. They're gonna want to bring it. USA lost, and so like they know that they have it
for pitchers. Like, I've heard some pitchers talk about this. They like pitching in high adrenaline situations before the start of the season. They say like it's hard to like pitchers. I think people don't realize like how hype they get themselves like before now. Not every pitcher, but they're able to remain composed. But it is a very like you have to be super locked in. And when you're pitching in the Grapefruit League or the Cactus League, and it's like in Florida, it's like a bunch of like old retirees. In Arizona too, like watching your game, and it's kind of warm out, and people are just not really paying attention to the game. Like it's hard to like get locked in those moments.
There's no way you can really give a damn, about any like at bat in the Grapefruit League or the Cactus League. Like you can like. Not to say that there's not going to be some awesome spring like as we were going down the roster, we talked about so many people with options. Like there's going to be some awesome spring training battles for the Rays, and that's exciting. But like you can't really capture that, especially if you're a high level competitor. Like if you got guys like Skubal who just came off of like pitching in the postseason in an amazing series against the Mariners, and now you're like, all right, here's one of these guys is a major leaguer, but he's not going to really try because he's already set. The other guy is a double-A prospect, and this other guy has a number like that's 98, and he just showed up. Like, like, like
I always love the tweets at the beginning of camp. It's it seems so and so has signed a minor league deal with this team because they have a locker and they're here. Like,
Yeah, it's like how it shows up. Yeah, no, the World Baseball Classic definitely helps bridge the gap of the off season as well. And yeah, bring some like
it's a great like
top level.
appetizer for the season. It's more than an appetizer. I shouldn't say that. Like it is becoming a big tournament, like for multiple, for several parts of the world. I think it's great. I think it really is.
And you get exposed to like with Team Japan, like there's a bunch of guys that have just signed the last 2 years that you got to see first. Like you got to see like Roki Sasaki and Murakami, and like you got to see like some of these guys that are like, oh, that guy looks really good. Like when is he being posted?
And I love how like with Clayton Kershaw pitching for Team USA, like after he's pitched his last game in the majors, and now he's gonna he probably will get like an inning or two in mop up. Sure. But wow, what a cool opportunity to like see him play. And like if you remember back to the Olympics, the last time Olympics, baseball was in the Olympics, and you had Shane Baz was teammates with Scott Kazmir at those Olympics. Like I think really cool moments like that. And it's like Clayton Kershaw, who like for my money is like greatest starting pitcher ever. Like to see him team up with Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal. Like that's really cool, and they're both wearing USA across their chest. That's really cool.
And
I'm excited.
All three will
Garrett
eventually
Clevenger
and Garrett Clevenger,
Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens, Clayton Kershaw, Garrett Clevenger, Griffin Jacks.
First, and I mean, but that's it.
Griffin Jacks could be that team's closer.
He absolutely is. He's electric, but also like Griffin Jacks went to Air Force Academy. Like
so did Paul Skeens.
He's oh yeah, that's right. Like this is. Before LSU, this also means a lot, right? Like military academies, like you sign up for something that's like bigger than yourself as well to your country. Now you're going to represent your country. I don't know. It's cool to see stuff like that. Like it's cool to see people give a damn about this, because I think early on it was kind of we had some great moments, right? We still see the highlights of Adam Jones with that home run robbery, like one of the most electric plays. And I think that has built it up to where we are now, where this actually matters to so many, and like it's good, it's good, it's really, really, really good for baseball.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like
that at bat. Like I'm still remember like that at bat with Ohtani versus Trout, like Ohtani in relief versus Mike Trout with like the game on the line and punches him out. Like that's amazing. High drama. And yeah. And I think the more we see that, then those players come into the regular season and are like awesome. Like that really kind of helps showcase, like to your point, like with a lot of the pitchers are mentioning, like you're ready. Opening day jitters, who cares? You just like knocked out like the murderer's row of like.
It's going to be even crazier because right before it starts, Tarek Skubal is going to be traded to the Dodgers. Which is going to make it so much more exciting.
Team USA is just basically the Dodgers plus ex-Dodger Garrett Clevenger.
Okay, we've got a couple minutes here at the end of the show. I think we sometimes touch on like league-wide news. So Kyle Tucker going to the Dodgers on a 4-year deal, $240 million deal.
$60 million a year.
The second highest average annual value behind only the greatest player ever, Shohei Ohtani. And he's signing for the same team that just won the World Series, that just won back-to-back World Series.
Uh-huh.
I've never been an advocate for a cap, but we're clearly going to get one. And whether that means we lose the 2027 season or not, we're going to get a cap one way or another.
There's such a better way of doing this, but I do feel like it's going to be inevitable to dig in because of the way the Dodgers have done this.
Rob Manfred has been trying to thread the needle here. He has been one of the major goals of his time as commissioner has been to kind of revolutionize the TV deals and the media rights deals.
Yes.
And this is something that he was he had this great vision when he took over as commissioner. I think the way that the media industry has transformed over the last 10 years has kind of been forced on Major League Baseball and the other leagues. And I think Major League Baseball has a unique problem trying to fix. This is 162 games. This is a very long season to sell to media rights partners, and I think the value of that has been very contentious. We had the very public breakup with ESPN, and now basically the RSN bubble has fully burst. Like they just don't exist anymore except in the largest markets. And you got a bunch of teams right now that like have no idea how much TV money they're going to make this year. And they used to be like
the Rays.
The constant income stream. At one point, the Rays had come to a deal with Fox. They were getting close to a deal with Fox that was going to pay them something like $83 million a year to keep the games on Fox Sports Sun and Fox Sports Florida. And then like Disney buys Fox, and it's like dominoes from there. And here we are today. Nobody has TV money except for the Dodgers, and so they're just spending it like crazy. And the rest of the league is like really pissed. And maybe they are rightfully pissed that like, okay, the Dodgers do have access to streams of income that we literally can't. We don't even have a shot. And so I do think teams are rightfully upset about how this is going down.
I hated seeing this. Not so much that like, I mean, from a Rays perspective, this is a better outcome because he didn't go to the Blue Jays. Like he didn't go to the Yankees. So like that great. Yeah. If Tarek Skubal gets traded to like if your joke comes through, gets traded to the Dodgers, which there was a rumor at the winter meetings.
I think they've had heavy discussions. I think it would be an insane effing return to go back, but if the Dodgers have enough players to pay it.
They can. They have the number one farm system.
They can send him Sasaki. They can send him like top players.
But to me, that would just also again clear the field for the Rays. That's one less great left-handed pitcher in the American League. To me, the thing that when I saw this that I just like was just like it was the Ben Affleck smoking meme. Is I'm just so sick of the takes, the hot takes, the media takes, where immediately after this, you have people complaining about it, but then you have people woke scolding everything about like, and it's so silly because they have to be like, actually, anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. Anybody can do that. Your team could do it, but your owner is cheap. And it's like, no, honestly, no. Like it's insulting to the intelligence of people that any team can do. Like, no, literally math doesn't work. Like this does exist. Like the Dodgers do have more resources than others. They are spending it. Now, if you're pointing that finger at the Cubs and the Yankees and the Mets and the Red Sox, and like, sure. Yeah, they could do this. They have their own media deals. They have those things, but even they have less resources than what the Dodgers have. So like, no, like the Pittsburgh Pirates cannot do this from the only fact that like Kyle Tucker, the Blue Jays have the media rights to do this. They have the entire country there, and their media rights are owned. Like they have
kind
this.
of tried to throw that money around,
but people don't want to go there. Kyle Tucker had that deal. He didn't want to go there. So there is a mixture here that's a problem. This is where it does get back to the cap, which I've been so against for the longest time. But the problem with this is that it's not about like a salary floor doesn't fix this. The Rays had had to spend another like $50 million. Kyle Tucker's still not taking it. And you still shouldn't spend it all on one player who's never been above a 5-win season. That's the other thing. Like he just came off a kind of disappointing season where he sucked in the postseason. And like he's not even a 5-win player and he's getting $60 million a year. Who can pay that besides the Dodgers?
So how do you fix it?
It's gonna be a cap because here's my thing. I don't care to fix it. I don't care about Kyle Tucker. I don't care about one team amassing this much talent. What I do care about is what Manfred has been kind of doing, which I think if he pulls it off, kind of makes him the best commissioner since.
You just said that Kyle Tucker is not worth the money he got paid.
He's not.
So
straight up. I like that is I think a bad deal. That's like a classic free agent, like when the Yankees signed everybody. Like it's
so not
bad. Like
only
he's gonna
can't
be
other teams
good.
afford that, other teams shouldn't pay that. That is not what he's
No,
worth.
100%. Like if the Rays announce this,
So
I would be like,
that is an issue that you need to fix. I think when players are being hoarded because there's one team that will pay them way more than I think that messes your whole market.
I do not want an NBA style cap, which I think is a nightmare because it's like it hurts. Like all trades now have to have like dead money and like trading in
Yeah.
the NBA is extremely convoluted and nobody knows how to do it.
And players that get traded like don't ever play for the team they were traded to.
No, and then they get cut and then they get signed back.
Like what's Trey? Is Trae Young going to play for the Wizards? I think he's just hanging out. I don't think
We'll see. He's just hanging out for it. Who knows? Who to watch is Wizards basketball to find out.
I'm not gonna.
Here, but that's so like I don't want an NBA style cap. I really want what Manfred's trying to do, which is like an actual shared, socialized media atmosphere where, like the NFL has, where suddenly the Dodgers rights, and the Dodgers don't want to do it, the Blue Jays don't want to do it, the Yankees will oppose it. Those three teams are going to be the most that like fight
universal pre-K. What else is on your agenda?
We are going to have free transportation to the new Rays Stadium, and Ron DeSantis is going to pay for it in a really shocking twist. No, what I want is that Dodgers media deal that's so sexy, that's so beautiful. That's now everybody gets it. No more revenue sharing. No more revenue sharing. I don't care about that. I want media sharing because in the NFL, everybody has access to basically like the media rights are the big driver. The Dodgers should get a boost and the Yankees should get a boost for all those other things.
The market. The NFL is like the only thing people watch on like live TV anymore.
But that's my thing is like if you got to do something similar where you basically had a couple of teams really boosting the money and that's shared amongst the rest, right? And the Rays got to reap the benefits of the Dodgers and the Yankees like media deals. The Dodgers and the Yankees don't have to pay for like revenue sharing, but now the Rays and the Blue Jays the Rays, the Blue Jays and the Brewers all have equal access to the same pool of money there. And the extra money you get is from the Blue Jays have like merch sales and tickets and all of that sort of stuff. That would allow the Rays to have and sponsorships. And the Rays have more money
on field,
right?
And on jersey sponsorship.
So like the Dodgers would now have still an advantage because they have Shohei Ohtani. They're still in LA. They still have all that. They just don't have every advantage. And so then the Rays would not be able to sign Kyle Tucker, but they would be able to sign more people and extend more people and keep their finances. They could take a bit more risks with those deals. They would get to increase that. And I do think that would be healthy for the game because I do think like the Dodgers were 1 out away from like losing this World Series. They were a collision catch in the outfield away from losing that World Series. I don't think baseball is set so that the super team aspect does ruin competition. However, the big issue there is what you said, right? Like, so my answer to this is media sharing, where it's like the NFL, where that is the majority of the pot and revenue comes from that, and all the other stuff is the sprinkle.
There would
for
still
baseball,
be a luxury tax revenue share, maybe.
Sure, yeah, like you can do that. I think there's ways that you can,
and maybe harshen the luxury tax a little bit more.
You need to actually, I think that's the thing, is share that money more
make
equitably.
It more of a soft cap.
And then actually hit them with like some severe punishments, like actual, and make stuff. I think the problem though is that the Dodgers will still pay it because they can afford to pay that and still get the same revenue.
So then don't you have to do a cap then?
If it's really a matter of what are you trying to solve?
So
are you trying to solve competition are you trying to make it a fairer playing field for winning the World Series? It's the media rights. If you're trying to give every team, like if you're not trying to allow a team to hoard all the assets, it's a cap. But I think caps are just purely anti-player. I think it's extremely bad on labor. But I can't even fault Major League Baseball for pushing towards that because it is absurd. It is absurd, like
Yeah.
patently on its face that the Dodgers can sign Kyle Tucker, even though Kyle Tucker isn't even like he's not even like a superstar player, but he is an all-star annual player. And like the Mets couldn't even do that. Like I it is absurd patently that is an ability. So if the big thing you want to fix is that the Dodgers get to get everybody, they can go 1 million more than the best offer anybody else can offer, and they're obviously going to take it because they get to play on easy mode with like
Mhm.
all these superstars. And you don't even have to. And Kyle Tucker, for his case, he doesn't want to be the guy. Like he was trying to be the guy in Chicago, it failed. So like it's much easier to be like Teoscar Hernandez's other, like the left-handed Teoscar Hernandez in LA,
And
and let Shohei and Mookie and Freddie do all the hard work.
the other thing, and this is, I think, apparent in some of the struggles the NBA is dealing with. Their ratings were never higher than when it was LeBron versus Steph in the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you need David versus Goliath stories. You need dynasties. You need villains. You need like the Dodgers are beatable, right? They came in within an inch from losing on multiple occasions during Game 7 of that World Series. I mean, just crazy plays happening that led to them scraping that win.
Yeah.
It could happen again. They could lose again. They could lose in an earlier round. There
They
are
could get
other
beat by
really,
Arizona.
yeah, there are other really
Like they
good
did.
teams out there. The National League maybe does seem like a cakewalk for them, but there's some good American League teams that could be in it. You know, New York, Toronto, Boston, Detroit.
Will there be, so I think the to my basically my major thing here is I think a cap is such a hard thing to do, right? It was a big fight in the 94 lockout. It's a big thing that the players have been able to fight off every single time. It is the last major sport without a cap. It's the last major North American sport without a cap. Is that going to be the red line that the owners put down, or can Manfred somehow, some way, navigate and thread this needle again and come away with a win for the owners and a win for the players that somehow allows a not allows a deal to be reached where you do harsher penalties, shared money, increases the amount of funds that other teams can get, and allows basically the Dodge, like, is there a path forward, or does it have to be a cap or no deal? Like, will the fans generally accept this?
Yeah, this all seems to be leading to some sort of work stoppage in the new year. I I don't know. I'm not optimistic about a 2027 season being played out in its entirety, and there's a chance you lose the whole year. Um,
But is this also the opportunity where like baseball is kind of at its hottest point? Like it is on a great momentum. Like, do you really want to
I
stop this?
could have said the same thing in '94. I know they had a huge uptick after
Yeah.
the strike, but in those early '90s, I don't know. It's a hot product, and yeah, the World Baseball Classic, like the storylines going into this year, I think even heighten that. So this has been a nice like raise your voice segment. We've done quite a few minutes on this. This has been good. We had a lot of news to go over, and maybe more news. I don't know if the Rays are done. I think there's going to be at least a couple of small moves between
Hmm.
now and the start of spring training, other than like some more non-roster invites. So, but that is going to do it for this week's episode of Raise Your Voice. Thank you guys for listening. We've been live on youtube.com/at Raise Your Voice. So if you're still watching us on YouTube, like this video if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, and turn on those notifications so you can join us whenever we go live. We're also, of course, available still wherever you get your podcasts. If you love what we do, you can head on over to patreon.com/raise your voice, and you can become a member for as little as $1 a month. As always, make sure to head on over to draysbay.com to check out all the great race coverage, the great stadium saga coverage, including news about the Rays' new deal at Hillsborough College, which broke earlier today. Once again, thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you next week. I think we're still on. We're still live. 1 second.